What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of our Futures Bootcamp. Today is episode 7 on risk management, and this is arguably one of the most important videos that I will post in this entire bootcamp. So please make sure you guys have your notebooks out, your pen and paper, whatever you need to make sure that you guys are getting and retaining the most information that you can from this video, because we are going to cover a lot. Now, I do want to cover risk management for both evals and for fundeds, because I do think that this is very, very important on how to pass both separately. Now, with risk to reward, you do want to define what you are actually comfortable with risking. It's going to be different for everybody. If you are someone who may not be super confident in your trading, you might want to risk less so that you can get more trades in, get more reps under your belt, and continue to learn as you do trade. It will help you not only with those reps, but it will help you being concise, taking those base hits, because once you do get to your funded, that's what you're going to be doing, and that is how your mindset will change. So we're going to break all of this down in today's video. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time, but we are once again going to go through evals, how to pass your eval, what your risk reward should look like. I'm going to give you guys an example for both that and our fundeds. We're going to talk about how to build a buffer on fundeds, how to actually stay funded for a long time, because that is the goal. Now, I want to break into this. I don't want to waste any more time. As always, 50 likes on this video and we'll be giving away a free eval and a free premium membership tomorrow morning in our free live trading session. All you guys have to do is drop a like, subscribe, click the first link in the description down below, join up on our 100% free Discord, and you guys will be in to the drawing of winning a free premium membership. Now, that is all I have for you guys. Let's go ahead and jump right into this video. Okay, now we have a lot to get into here, so we're first going to dive into our evals. Now, I do want to talk about this on a stage of a 50K account as our example. Now, you are not trading with $50,000. You are trading with $2,000, and we know that our profit target is $3,000. Our drawdown is $2,000, meaning you can't lose that $2,000, and you can make 150% of that $2,000 or $3,000, right? So that is our goal. We know that we have a 50K starting balance. We need to make $3,000 before we lose $2,000. That should be easy. Now, where we start to get into the, questions that you need to answer for yourself are going to be things like what your risk is going to be. For example, on an eval, I am someone who is going to risk essentially the whole eval, full porting it, because I understand whether I pass it or I blow it, I know that my strategies are going to keep up with me to the point where I will be profitable, paying for those evals with my funded payouts or passing those evals outright. You know what I'm saying? So I am going to be a little bit more risk on, where I am going to risk probably about $700 to $800 a trade to make $1,500 so that I can pass that eval as quick as possible. But what I want to look at here is the way that you need to be breaking this down. You need to, break it down in a way that is digestible and easy for you to understand and repeatable, which is the most important factor here. So, example, if we're risking $1,000 a trade, how many trades can we lose before we do blow this account? Sorry, we can only lose 2 trades. 1,000 times 2 is 2,000. That's your account. Now, if we're risking 500, we can risk 4 losing trades before the account is dead. And this is obviously consecutive. If you have a 50% win rate on the nose and you essentially break even, well, if you're risking 500, you're going to go down 500, then back up 500, and you're going to stay at the same spot, right? So that is what you need to run through your head. Also, things like risking 300. You have 6 trades until your account is blown. 200, you have 10 trades until your account is blown. Okay, so if you're someone who is not very confident in your trading skills yet, which is totally fine, dumb down the risk, give yourself more opportunities to take trades, not only to risk less so you don't blow your account quicker, but also to get those reps in, because if you're a newer trader who doesn't have much confidence in the market, you need more reps under your belt or trades under your belt to feel better and more confident through this entire process. So if you are a newer trader, I would recommend $200 per trade. Yes, you're not going to pass your eval in 1 or 2 days. If you want to pass your eval in 1 or 2 days but don't know what you're doing, you are in this for the wrong reason. We're not in this to make money. We're in this to pass the account. Once you pass the account, you're in this to stay alive, and the money is the reward. Okay? If you're thinking about this as, I need to make $1,500 today on this eval so I can pass it tomorrow, you're not going to pass the eval. If you think about this as, I need to take 2 great trades to pass this eval, right? If my profit target is $1,500, I need to take 2 great trades to pass this eval. Or if I'm looking for $500, well, I need to take 6 great trades to pass this eval and make that $3,000, okay? Inversely, if I'm risking $500 on those same trades, I need to not lose 4 straight trades to take down my maximum drawdown, right? Now, if you size up emotionally, you are mathematically guaranteed to fail. This is what I'm talking about. If you guys are going to be taking trades where you risk 200 and then all of a sudden start risking 1,000 and then go back to 200, you are going to kill yourself off. I promise you that, because if I take a win on a $2,000 risk trade or a $200 risk trade and I make $150, but then my $1,000 trade that I risk, I lose 700. Well, that makes zero sense. You're not going to be able to be profitable. You're not going to be able to sustainably stay into these evals, and especially not those fundeds, right? I have been there. I risk normally about $200 on my fundeds, but I have emotionally traded before. I'll tell you that right now. And what happens when I take those trades that I put $1,000 on the table? Most of the time, just the way it works, I get stopped out and I lose my $700, $800, and then I'm back at square one after grinding it up for, weeks, right? That is going to happen to you too. It's part of it. We all learned from it, but I'm trying to help you negate that process, not have to go through all those bad times that I've been through. I'm trying to help you guys, not make the same mistakes that I've made. And that is a mistake that I've made, is sizing up or changing your risk play by play. That's not going to work unless if your strategy truly does call for it. And really, there is not many out there that do so, right? So your eval account is for your actual, how do I say this where you guys don't take this in the wrong way? Your eval account is meant to be taken a little bit more aggressively than your funded. Okay, that doesn't mean act like an idiot and trade whatever you want. This means be very precise. You're only taking your A+ setups, but you are risking a little bit more. You're taking a little bit more of a risk with these trades, right? Now, once you pass this eval, this is the easy part. You need to follow this risk. I can't tell you exactly what your risk needs to be because I don't know what your strategy is. I don't know how you trade. I don't know when you trade. I don't know what amount of points you're looking for, yada, yada, yada. If you're looking for 50 points and you want a 1 to 2, well, your stop loss is going to be 25 points. It's pretty obvious, right? So you need to define that, and then you need to go down and say, okay, well, 25 points on M&Q is $2 a point. So if I buy, one contract, that means my stop loss is $50, and that means my TP is what? $100, okay? So now if I size up to 2 contracts, well, I'm having a loss of $100 for a win of $200, right? Very, very easy. You need to run that through your head and say, okay, am I willing to risk $100 on my stop loss to make $200? If the answer is yes, perfect. If you go up and you say, am I willing to risk $150 on my stop loss for $300 on my profit? And you're saying, I don't want to risk $150. Great, perfect. Go back to $200 in profit, $100 in stop loss. Start there. You can always change, right? But try not to just play around with it all at once, okay? Pick something, stick to it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, learn from it and change it, okay? But don't change it play by play. Don't think that I can risk 500 here, 1,000 there, 100 here, 50 there, 2,000 there. It's not going to work. It's not going to work, okay? So just negate that process. Don't even fall for that trap, right? Now, once we do pass this 50K account, one thing, and this is very, very important for these fundeds, and this is something that you can either listen to me or don't, but I'm telling you from experience, you want to build a buffer on the funded. I get it. You want to take a payout. That's great. I want to take a payout too. Does that mean I'm going to do so as soon as possible? No. And why? Because look at this. If you are able to make, say, $800 on your funded account, right? So take it from $50,000 to $50,800, okay? Or $50,800. I don't know why I said it like that. Take your payout, your balance drops, your drawdown tightens, right? We know that our drawdown is going to follow up. So if I have $2,000 in drawdown, but I take $800 in payouts, well, now my drawdown is only $1,200, meaning that you're going to have a lot tighter of an area for you to blow this account, meaning it's going to be a lot easier for you to blow this account, meaning that you are going to feel like you need to press, feeling like you need to make a big profit to get out of that drawdown, and that is when that account gets blown, right? One bad day equals violation or account blown. Now, if you actually take the time, right, and look at this as a long-term thing, because that's how we should all be looking at it. If you want to make this a job, right, or you want to make this somewhere where you're getting a true income from it, who gives a shit if you get a payout in 1 week that's $800 when you could play it like this and get a $2,000 payout in 3 weeks and say that works out to be the same math? What's the difference between taking it 1 week and waiting 2 weeks and getting a much safer payout for the same amount, right? Now we're going to build a buffer of $4,000, right? So you're going to bring your account from $50,000 to $54,000. And once again, I would recommend being very, very safe with the way that you trade this. Limit your drawdown, maximize that profit in the best way that you can, but don't push it, right? If you have a trade that makes you $500 on the day, lock your account and get off. That's beautiful. That's plenty. You do not need to keep trading, okay? Only bad things are going to come from continuing to trade, right? Whether you win or whether you lose, okay? So building this buffer is going to help you because we also know that the drawdown stops at $50,000. So when we first open this account, we have a $0 balance. You have a $2,000 drawdown. Okay. Once you make $2,000, that drawdown is brought up to zero. Okay. Once you make another $2,000, that drawdown stays at zero. And now your buffer or your drawdown is $2,000. So if I take a 50K account and I make $20,000, okay, well, now I have $20,000 of drawdown before this account is blown. And the best part about this, and what people never realize, is that money is eligible to be, paid out eventually, right? That doesn't mean that you have to take it right now, and you shouldn't. You should look at this for the long term and say, I have this $4,000 that I can pay out at any time. So I'm going to use that as a bank. I'm going to use that as my foundation. I'm going to go build on top of that, take those payouts. And then, God forbid something goes wrong or you want to, get your out from trading or whatever. It's not your thing, blah, blah, blah. Then you can go ahead and take that $4,000 and pay it out, right? That is what you need to focus on, because if you bring your drawdown down to somewhere where you have like $800 of drawdown, you're going to blow the account, right? Now you're trading from strength, okay? And that's the point that I want to make. Build this foundation and this actual buffer with the $4,000 in profit. That's going to help you continue to take payouts on top of that. It's going to limit your it's actually going to maximize your drawdown, so you limit the amount of, opportunities that you have to blow this account. If you blow a $4,000 buffer, you did something wrong. If you blow a $2,000 buffer, you did something wrong. If you blow a $500 buffer, you're just going to say, oh, well, I took a payout and, well, I took a payout though. And that's what you're going to say. And you're going to think it's all handy dandy, and it's not. Okay. You need to follow those rules because it's very, very important. So $54,000 is what you're shooting for, or that $4,000 buffer, because you get more drawdown to work with. And that is very, very, very important. I'm telling you, people neglect this. And this is probably the biggest thing that I'll hit on all video. Build your damn buffer. It is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. Now, before or actually working on building this buffer, let's talk about some risk. Now, what I risk when I'm building my buffer is I risk $150 to make or target $200, and then I extend my profit target up if it looks like we're continuing. What I mean by that is I go ahead, I enter my trade, put my stop loss at minus $500 or $150, meaning I'm willing to lose $150. Put my target at $200. If we are pushing up towards that range and it looks like we might have resistance coming up or something like that, I'm going to take that $200, lock my account, get off for the day, done. Okay. If we are able to push through that zone, then I will extend it up, probably putting my stop loss somewhere like $100 to $150 in profit, and we will see how much profit we can get. But you want to make sure that you are locking in $150 to $200 no matter what, as soon as possible. Lock it in, get off the charts, come back the next day, do the same thing until you get to $4,000. It's going to suck. You're going to think it's boring. You're going to think it's lame. You're going to think it's not efficient. But I'm telling you, it is the best way. I'm telling you this from experience. I've blown many accounts. I've blown many funded accounts. I think I've blown probably 10 plus funded accounts. So I have a lot of experience on things like this. And you want to know why I blew those accounts? Because I didn't build a buffer, or I was trying to speed run that buffer and I was trying to make that $4,000 on day one. And then I blew the account because obviously, right? After the $4,000 is hit, then you can start to move your risk around. Now you can risk something like $300 to make $400 or $200 to make $400. Whatever your risk is going to be, you can start to adjust this into your favor now, because now that we have $4,000 in drawdown, now we can go back and do this same equation of how many trades do I need to blow this account? Well, if I'm risking $400 per trade, I need to make 4 bad trades in a row to blow this account. Realistically, that's not going to happen if you know what you're doing and you're a decent trader. I mean, if you flipped a coin 10 times, you're not going to land on heads 10 times straight. So you shouldn't be blowing your accounts, right? Now, slowly working through sizing up is going to help you scale through payouts and profitability, right? This is going to help you, although you're taking it slow at first, it's going to ramp up very quickly, because once you get to that 4,000, now you can risk more. Now those payouts are going to be larger. Now you're going to feel a lot better about making more money on your trades. And all of this wrapped up is going to give you more confidence, because you said, okay, I was able to make $4,000 slow, methodical, boring, whatever you want to call it. I was able to do it. I proved it to myself. Now I'm going to go actually put this into action, size up a small bit, and you don't even need to size up if you don't want to, but size up a small bit if you're feeling it, okay, because now you have more drawdown, and now we can actually start to scale through those payouts, right? Now, your controlled expectancy model is going to be risking $200 for $400 in profit on a regular 2RR trade, right? So you're risking half to make full, or 200 to make 400, or 500 to make 1,000, something like that, right? Whatever those numbers are going to be. So 5 wins times $400 is going to be $2,000. That is a great payout of over $1,000. Okay, that's 1 week. 1 week you could be making $1,000 a week per account. Imagine if we have 5 accounts times $1,000 a week, you're making $5,000 a week, $20,000 a month. And you have this buffer where you can also pull out another $4,000 per account. Okay. Now, 5 losses of $200 is only $1,000, right? Now, where does that put us? That puts us back at $3,000 where we still have more than our original buffer. And now we can size back down a little bit, maybe run it back up to 4,000 and try again. Okay. Or whatever that is going to be for you, right? So your net progression, no matter what, is every 10 trades, you should be profiting $1,000. And that is simply going off a 50% win rate. Okay. And this is what I want to talk about. You do not need a high win rate. You need a controlled risk to reward. The thing that pisses me off the most about the trading space and community and all this thing is the first question I get asked is, what's your win rate? What's your win rate? So is your win rate like 98%? If it's not 98%, I'm going to go with, no name Joe over here who said he wins 108% of his trades. If you think that win rate matters when you are trading, you are an idiot. I hate to say it, you are an idiot. If you seriously think that win rate matters to the point of, and I'm saying win rate does matter, but if you think that the difference between a 55% win rate and a 65% win rate is going to make the difference of you being profitable or not, you're an idiot. If you even think that a 75% win rate is going to make you more profitable than a 50% win rate, you are wrong. You are so wrong. Your risk to reward matters. What I just showed you, every 5 days, or every 10 trades, you are making $1,000 on a 50% win rate. 50%. It's all about risk to reward. It is not about win rate. I could have a 30% win rate, right? 30%. But if my wins are 10 times bigger than my losses, I am going to be profitable. You could win 10% of the time. And if your wins are 20% bigger than your losses, you are going to be a profitable trader. It does not matter how often you win. It matters how impactful those wins are and how least impactful those losses are at the end of the day. That is what you need to focus on. If you care about win rate, you are going to get slaughtered. Your eyes and your plan are on the complete wrong path to profitability. You are obviously caring about the wrong things, and you need to restructure your mind to realize that if I'm taking this trade where I am risking $100 and my win is $500, well, what? I need anything better than a 20% win rate to be a profitable trader. That's all you need is a 20% plus win rate. Okay? So whatever your model is going to give you, if your model gives you a 1-to-1 risk reward, yeah, you're going to have to be a little bit more profitable. You're going to have to be over 50% to be profitable if your risk to reward is 100 or 1-to-1. Well, if your risk to reward is 2-to-1, meaning like this, you risk $200 to make $400, your risk to reward is going to be 50 and on for profitability. Pretty damn simple. And it's crazy when you think about it like that, because if you do my 2-to-1 risk to reward, okay, you could flip a coin. You could flip a coin every time you see your setup, right? And no matter what it lands on, if you are 50%, so a coin flip, you will be profitable. I'm telling you that you can be profitable off a fucking coin flip if you follow these rules correctly, okay? So don't neglect this kind of stuff, okay? Now, this is the entire timeline, right? We survive our eval, we pass our eval, boom. Now that we have passed the eval, now we go into survival mode, and we want to see how long we can keep these fundeds open by building a buffer, okay? Now, once we build this buffer of $4,000, and you could even go to $6,000, right? You can even go to $10,000. Give yourself more risk to put on these trades, because if you have $10,000 and I want to risk $1,000 per trade, well, then again, I have 10 losing trades in a row until I blow this account. But if I have a 2-to-1 risk to reward and I'm making $2,000, risking $1,000 with a 50% win rate, well, I'm going to come out every 10 trades up $10,000. Okay? So build that buffer. It's going to help you. After that, we're scaling our risk. Like I talked about, scaling through that buffer, getting to a point where maybe you have $10,000 in your account, you can risk $500 to $1,000 per trade, making, $1,000 to $2,000 per trade. You are going to come out very, very profitable. And lastly, pay yourself. Pay yourself. This is now we get into the fun part, right? Pay yourself. Cool. You've done all these steps, and now you get to reward yourself. And now you have a buffer to the point where it's going to be much, 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 much easier to continue to pay yourself, because you have put yourself in the right seat or right chair to be able to do so and benefit off of that, right? Now, Trading is not about making money fast. It is about staying funded long enough to scale, okay? If you are someone who is going to look to make $2,000 in your first week on your funded account, you're probably going to blow it. If you are someone who is looking to get to $4,000 in your balance or your buffer by any means possible, by any time frame possible, I don't care how long it takes, I'm going to stick to my risk reward. I'm going to follow it. I'm going to follow my plan. I'm going to follow my strategy. I'm going to stick to this, okay? I'm going to buy in. I'm 100% bought in. Well, you're going to get to a point where you are now rewarded for taking the time to actually sit there, do the boring shit, make the $200 a day instead of, yes, you're going to see your friends making profits of $3,000, $4,000, right? And then what are you going to see? You're going to see them go dead silent when they blow that account, be back at square one while you are still grinding your account. And I guarantee you, time and time again, they are going to catch up and then fall behind. They're going to catch up and fall behind because they are not able to stay on that ladder and continue to climb towards profitability, okay? If you're going to get up on that ladder, right, and you're going up to a high dive, you're not going to jump off halfway through the ladder, okay? You're going to get off the diving board and then you're going to jump off the diving board. No one's going to jump off the fucking ladder into some concrete. Don't do that. That is what you are doing when you are over trading and when you think, well, I need to make this $4,000 buffer, so I'm going to try and do it in 2 days. No. Why? We are all, if you are here, that means that you are most likely not profitable or you are close to profitability. Both great places to be, right? You're learning. Well, what happens when you're learning? You realistically need to trade more. You need more reps. You need more experience. Take the time to do that here. Take the time to do that here so then when you get your $4,000 buffer, then you can go, okay, I am very confident in my trading strategy. I now know what I'm doing. I can now size up with confidence and I know I'm not going to break my rules. I know that nothing else matters other than making this profit that I'm looking for, setting my stop loss, following my strategies, done. That is it. Okay, now I did have to go take a little bit of a breather after getting so excited right there. I just love to talk about risk to reward, man. And so we're going to continue to do so, talking about Trader A here with a 2-to-1 risk to reward. Now, Trader A is risking $500 to make $1,000. Once again, $500 risking to make $1,000. Let's say their win rate is 60%, which is nothing crazy. Nothing crazy, but like we said, win rate does not matter. Risk to reward matters. Okay, 2-to-1 risk to reward, that's great. Now, let's simulate this over 10 trades. 60% win rate. So over 10 trades, we're going to win 6 trades, making $6,000. We're going to lose 4 trades, losing $2,000. Now, if you went to elementary school and you understand how subtraction works, you can go ahead and subtract that and find your net profit of $4,000. Now, that's a pretty good payout. No, I don't know about you, but $4,000 every 10 trades is pretty nice. And even if you were to risk $250 to make $500, that's still a profit of $2,000. Okay, so do that kind of math because it's going to make sense. If you have a 60% win rate, go with something like this. It doesn't have to be 500 to 1,000 for your risk to profit. It can be 100 to 200. You could be risking $100 to make $200. You could be risking 300 to make 600. You could be risking 425 to make 850. I don't care. But that is something that you need to follow depending on your win rate. Okay, and your strategy is going to depict that. Now, let's go over to Trader B. Now, Trader B has a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Okay, they're risking 500 to make 500, meaning that their trades are essentially break even. But here's the kicker. They have a 75% win rate. And over a 10 trade simulation, they are going to win 7.5 trades. Obviously, realistically, let's just round up and say 8. Obviously, with 10 trades, you can't do a half a win. But you're going to make roughly around $3,750 in profit. Okay, well, what are we going to lose here? We're going to lose $1,250 on those 2.5 or 3 losses that we do end up taking. And our net profit is going to come out to be something like $2,500. So you guys can see, no matter which direction we go, depending on your win rate is going to depend on what your profit factors and your actual risk to reward is going to be. If you win 50% of the time, you are going to need a much better risk to reward than someone who wins 80% of the time because they know that they are going to win more often, so they don't need that win to be bigger than the loss. I mean, you could have an 80% win rate and take a trade where your wins are $300 and your losses are $400 and you would still be profitable because of your win rate. Okay. And your risk to reward allows you that opportunity to do so, right? So these are the things that you do need to run through your head, kind of talk about and figure out, because it's going to be a little bit different for each trader. It's going to be different for you than from me. It's going to be different from you than your friend. Even if you're trading the same strategy, a lot of people have different risk rewards. I mean, I know I personally have a lot of a different risk reward for orb than most people do. That's why I believe I see the most success, because a lot of people abuse that kind of things. And when you see a lot of people lined up in the exact same format, you always want to kind of go against the grain, bro. You don't want to be a sheep getting, directed towards the slaughter, or whatever that deal is, right? So that is how you're going to directly apply it to your trading strategy specifically. Go find your risk to reward, go find your win rate. Okay. Once you find your win rate, do the math on what you can afford for your risk to reward to continue to be profitable. Okay. Then step number 3 is going to be finding out what that risk reward actually is in facts of, am I risking 500 to make 1,000, or am I risking 200 to make 400, or am I risking $5 to make $10? Okay. Whatever that's going to be, that is how you do that process. You find your win rate, then you go discover a risk to reward that is going to be in your favor towards profitability. Then you go find what you are comfortable with losing. Obviously, if I'm only comfortable with losing $200 on a 2-to-1 risk reward, then I'm going to make $400. I don't have an option there. You want to find out what you're willing to lose, okay? Because you're not going to tell me right now that you're willing to lose $5,000 because you know on those wins you're going to make $10,000. You're not willing to lose $5,000, buddy. Okay, I'm not willing to lose $5,000. Personally, for me, I'm willing to lose 200. 200 to make 300, 200 to make 400, or 150 to make 300. Things like that, because that's what applies to my trading strategy, my risk reward, my win rates. Okay. I'll tell you guys right now, I don't have a crazy win rate. My win rate's probably somewhere around 67 to 70%. Not crazy. A lot of people on TikTok would probably frown on that and be like, oh my God, this guy doesn't know how to trade because his win rate isn't 98%. No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. That's ego talking. No one cares. If someone tells you that win rate matters, they are on day 1 of trading. Okay. I have proven and shown that I'm profitable through many, many videos, through every single day in our Discord, because I'm able to establish this with my win rate. I can establish my risk reward. I can also establish how much I'm willing to risk. And that is going to lead you to profitability. Now, the final step of this is following. This is the hardest part. Putting this to action, following it, staying disciplined with it, continuing to grow through it. Okay. You're going to get to points where, after you are at a point where, say, I'm willing to risk $200, but then I trade this way and I make $5,000. Well, now you're going to want to jump up, but is it the right time to do so? Okay. Has your win rate increased? Has your RR seen a jump in one direction or the other? Is this strategy working? Can you extend? This is where you go do your back testing, all the back end stuff, and say, okay, I did a 1 to 2 risk reward, but half of these plays ran to 1 to 3 risk reward. So now I can start maybe going 1 to 3, but then bringing my break even up to, that 1 to 2 line after we break through it, or something like that, right? So you want to figure those kind of things out, and it is very, very important to do so. It is also most important to apply this. You can do all of the research that you want. You can plan all you want. You can do every single thing. You could spend hours and hours and hours and hours doing this. But, if you're not willing to put it into action, stay disciplined on it, and actually treat this like a job, okay, where you need to perform to continue to stay funded or hired or employed or whatever, you need to treat this like a job, because that's what you want it to be. Okay, that's what you want it to be. I get it. Trading is so fun. I get it that this can be financial freedom. I get it that you can make whatever amount of money that you want from wherever you want. But at the end of the day, you still have to take the right steps to be able to do so. Okay? There are many, 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 many people out there that know that trading is very lucrative. You can make a lot of profits. Okay? Those people know that, and they still don't trade. Why? Because it's hard. Okay? Or because they couldn't follow their rules, or because they weren't able to apply or take action on what they are learning, or they weren't willing to learn at all. I mean, there's infinite reasons for why they fail, and not many reasons for why there is a lot of reasons for why they do continue, but there's not many negative reasons for why they do continue. Okay. You need to stay positive on making sure that you stay in the direction that you are looking for. That should be up. That should be up. No matter what you're doing with trading or not, you should be looking to get better every single day at whatever you're doing. Okay, you should be able to continue to look at how can I improve this? How can I make this better? How can I, multiply these profits? How can I add an account onto this one? So now when I'm risking 500 to make 1,000, well, instead of making $4,000 every 10 trades with a 60% win rate like we showed, now you're making $8,000 every 10 trades because you're copy trading. Then you get up to 5 accounts and you're making whatever the hell that would be, right? You're making $20,000 every 10 trades. So that's the point that I was trying to make there. I hope that you guys were able to kind of get what I'm talking about here with risk reward. It is really hard to explain because everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to want different things. Everyone's going to have different trading strategies. So there's not one thing that's going to apply. And that's great. That's beautiful because that is, the diversity in trading. You can do it so many different ways. You can do it correctly in so many different ways, and you can do it incorrectly in so many different ways. It just depends on which way you want to follow it and which way you want to go about it. And hopefully that is in the correct fashion. And hopefully I was able to depict what that correct fashion looks like through the diagrams that I showed you guys. Now, that is essentially all I have for today's video. Tomorrow, we will have another one of our bootcamp videos out. We have 3 more videos coming out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So make sure you guys do continue to drop a like, subscribe, stay tuned on these videos because our last 2 videos are going to be very, very, very important. Going to wrap up everything, kind of give you guys my true ideas on what I feel about trading in general, how I go about trading, and the mistakes that I have made and learned from, so you guys can hopefully negate those mistakes as best as possible and really just get towards that profitability as soon as possible. Now, that's going to be it for me, boys. Make sure you guys do like and subscribe. As always, 50 likes, we'll be giving away a free eval and a free premium membership. Now, what should we have you guys comment today? If you stayed until the end, comment Mountain Valley, baby. Mountain Valley. Not a paid sponsor, but if they want to paid sponsor me, tell them to hit me up. That is all I have for you, boys. Later.